There was this guy. His name was Jack. He used to be untouchable. He's a pro wrestler. In the ring, he was the executioner, the top heel. Crowds booed, spit, screamed at him, and he loved it. He fed off it. He never once flinched. That was his power. He never broke character. But at home, Jack was losing control. His wife would get emotional, criticize him, push his buttons, storm off over small things. And every time Jack reacted, he snapped back. He would explain himself. He would raise his voice, or worse, he would retreat. And one night after a blow up, she said, "You always need the crowd to hate you, but you can't even handle me." And that line broke him harder than a steel chair ever could. He felt lost. He knew how to be the executioner under the bright lights, but at home, he didn't know who to be. So he did what real men do when they're off their game. He went back to the locker room. There, surrounded by the boys, he pulled aside one of the old vets, a grizzled locker room leader who had been through it all: divorced, rebuilt, remarried, centered, respected. That guy didn't say much. He just listened. And then he said, "You forgot the first rule of being a heel. The crowd's job is to test you. Your job is to stay in character. Your wife's no different, brother. She's not the enemy, but she's watching to see if you'll break." And that line hit like a gut punch. So Jack listened. And with the help of the old vet and a few of the other boys, he started training for home the same way he trained for the ring. He learned how to smirk through the storm, how to slow down his words, how to stay calm when things got loud. He started leading again, not reacting, not chasing, just standing tall in his own frame, like the heel he always was. And something wild happened. His wife started to soften, not because he fixed her feelings, but because he stopped letting them control him. Jack didn't do it alone. He had the locker room. Men who had been through the same fire and came out sharper. He stopped trying to win the argument and started winning back his respect. The truth is, Jack didn't figure this out alone. He had a locker room, men who had been there, done that, and weren't afraid to call him out or lift him up when he forgot who he was. Do you have that, brother? Or are you still trying to do this alone? Explaining yourself, reacting, breaking frame, hoping it'll just fix itself. Chew on that for a little bit. Now you know why you're losing frame, but how do you actually rebuild it? What do you do when the damage is already done? Well, I'll walk you through that step by step right after this. But guys, if you did not know, forget that bitch. My Red Pill Guide to Breakups drops a week from today. If you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, you can grab the Kindle edition, or you can pre-order the Kindle edition now, but the hardcover, paperback, and the Kindle edition drop a week from today. And the Audible edition should drop same time. I submitted it a couple of weeks ago, and the timing should be perfect. If it's not, just follow me on X, because I'll be putting out an announcement about that soon enough. And then, guys, if you want to work with me one-on-one, whether you need help with a breakup recovery, or you need help trying to turn things around before you end up in divorce court. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. You guys are like, what? No. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com, guys. Go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com for that. In the meantime, run with the wolves, baby. Okay, what true frame looks like. It looks like calm under pressure, emotional detachment, and belief in self. This is one of the reasons why I tell guys in the pack, I tell my private clients, I talk about it in my books, you have to have a loving detachment in your relationship. You've got to be able to look at things objectively and not be lost in your feels. You can do that as a man. Women can have that ability too. It's just harder for them because they have so much estrogen, right? But as a man, it's pretty easy. Take a step back, let go of all attachment to outcome, and look at things objectively, okay? When your wife's getting emotional and pissed off, it's not a dig at you. Even if she's trying to dig at you, don't look at it that way. You got to reframe that kind of stuff and look at it for what it is. She's the most responsible teenager in the house. Just pat her on the head. You're adorable when you're mad, right? Let's talk about how WWE heels train their frame. They do it through repetition, right? Day in, day out, night in, night out in the ring. Those guys work a pretty tight schedule, and they work year round. They don't have off seasons. So they're constantly honing their craft, right? And WWE, especially, they have the Performance Center, right? They have the Performance Center down in Orlando, and they can go down there, and they have coaches at hand and people that help them refine what they're doing until they get it perfect, right? In fact, WWE's training system, NXT, is got some of the some of the best wrestling out there because their coaches are so goddamn good, right? And a lot of these guys came from other promotions and they have natural talent. But then the coaches at WWE really hone that and show them how the psychology works. They have promo classes. They have like psychology classes. They don't just wrestle in the ring. They're not just great athletes. And they have some of them have rituals, right? Before each match, they mentally rehearse who they are, their tone, their walk, their posture, their beliefs. They embody this character. Great book on developing an identity for yourself, an untouchable, unbreakable identity for yourself is my late friend, RP Thor, his second book that I helped him with. I did the audio for the audiobook. The Superhero Inside, it's a part of the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series. It walks you through all this kind of stuff about how to develop that identity and that character, right? Who are you? What's the tone of your voice? How do you walk? Right? What are your beliefs? What are your values? The Undertaker lived his gimmick. Even like when he was in public, if people were going to see him, he was in the gimmick and he didn't break character. And he did that for years. It was only until maybe 3 or 4 years ago that he started being himself in public. Now everyone used to, like, you would see all the other pro wrestlers and go, that's not a character, but the Taker on the, like, when you would see him in public, you're like, no, that's him. No, he's legit, like the scary dead man walking, right? Like people would believe that stuff because he stayed in that character all the time and he lived that gimmick, right? But you got to live your gimmick, brother. You got to make it a part of who you are. They control their voice and their pacing, right? Heels slow down when the crowd gets loud. They pause. They smirk, right? That shitty grin, that cocky funny, right? They let silence do their talking. Jake the Snake Roberts, he had a great way of getting you to draw you in, to listen to his promos, really stop what you were doing and listen, because what he would do is he would get his voice way down low. Because when you get low like this, all of a sudden my pacing stopped and all of a sudden you're forced to tune in now. You were sort of, mind was wandering, but then my voice changed a little bit and it got quieter. You got to lean in a little bit just to hear, because you're not sure if you can hear what I'm saying. Jake the Snake was a master of that. That's why he was so good. That's why he was a legend. And boy, they embrace that hate. They embrace that hate, man, right? If you can embrace the hate, if you can find it funny and amusing when your wife gets agitated, you've already won, brother. You've already won. You're so adorable. If she can't get you up in your feels the way she's trying to, she respects you more and she loves you for it. You've got to reframe that conflict. A lot of guys are like, oh, she's attacking me. She's attacking my manhood, right? That's how I felt whenever I would get in an argument with my now ex-wife. There was a lot of things she would do that I felt like she was stepping on my manhood, right? So I would get upset and pissed off and yell at her and whatever, right? But now I look back on it and it was just her natural manipulation tactics. And if I knew what they were and I could articulate, you know, or better just understand where she was coming from, I wouldn't have fell for it. If I knew then what I know now, things would have been totally different. Now she's a terrible person and everything worked out the way it's supposed to, but but you get me, right? You get me. But this kind of stuff, right? You reframe their conflicts so that her emotions aren't a threat, they're a test. And they're cute and adorable. That naturally gives you that amused mastery that we talk about in the space. You don't have to try to have amused mastery. If you think what she does is cute and adorable, you just naturally think it's funny, right? You got to think of like a 3-year-old that calls you a poopy head. You're not going to lose your shit at a 3-year-old who calls you a poopy head. You're going to think it's funny. You got to have the same viewpoint whenever your wife gets all pissed off. Paul, are you telling him not to take our emotions seriously? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. You got to have that heel mindset shift, right? Be amused, not upset. Embrace the test just as the heels embrace the boos. Some tactical behaviors, right? Smirk, right? Playful smirk. You know, in the book Atomic Attraction, they talk about how women find men with a brooding look or a playful smirk more attractive because you look like a guy who is a little bit of a mystery and they can't figure you out, right? But if you smile all the time, you come across as a pushover nice guy. So that's why if you read Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, I talk about don't smile in every picture, right? Smile in like one picture so she can see that your teeth aren't fucked up, but the rest of the pictures have a playful smirk or a brooding look. It'll do better for you on the apps psychologically. Okay. So smirk, pause. If your wife says something that really gets under your skin in that moment, your gut instinct is to blast back, take a 3-second pause. And sometimes you not saying anything and just making a stern eye contact says everything you have to say. She knows she crossed the line and you're holding yourself in check, and she'll be like, oh, shit.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.